Sequels are incredibly difficult to do right, with them rarely being better than the original movies, and this is especially true for the horror genre. For the most part, it is Hollywood trying to capitalize on a movie's success and not completely caring if the movie flops or not. Horror thrives on sequels and remakes, with it being the perfect formula to make a lot of money with somewhat unimpressive results. However, there are a handful of movies out there that have accomplished this and have blessed us with genuinely terrifying scares. So today on Top 5 Scary Videos, I'm going to be counting down our list of the top 5 horror movie sequels better than the original part 2. Before we begin though, be sure to stick around until the end of the video where I'll be responding to some of your comments. And with that, let's jump in. Coming in at number 5, Ouija, Origin of Evil. Ouija, Origin of Evil is a 2016 supernatural horror film directed by fan favourite Mike Flanagan. The movie is a prequel to the 2014 film Ouija, which was a notable flop. Ouija was directed by Styles White and produced by Michael Bay, which in itself is a red flag. The movie starred Olivia Cooke and a group of unknowns as teenagers who unleashed spirits from a Ouija board. Classic. The movie was a commercial and critical flop, with it receiving a mere 6% on Rotten Tomatoes, with the general consensus reading, slowly, steadily. Although no one seems to be moving it in that direction, the Ouija planchette points to no. Honestly, I love this review so much, it fills me with joy. Thankfully though, Mike Flanagan stepped in for the sequel, completely turning the series around in all the best ways. Origin of Evil is a prequel to the aforementioned film and stars Elizabeth Reeser. It centers on a widow and her family who introduce a Ouija board into their phony seance business, thereby inviting a spirit that possesses the youngest daughter. Mike Flanagan has quickly emerged as one of the most talented newcomers in the horror genre, with his films and series such as Gerald's Game, Hush, The Haunting of Hill House, and now Ouija, Origin of Evil being huge successes. Not only is Origin of Evil a much better movie, but it is genuinely terrifying. The movie is a jolt to the system, especially in the final few moments before the credits roll. It markets itself as a family drama and a scary movie, something that is incredibly difficult to accomplish, but Flanagan does this flawlessly. The movie went on to garner an 83% with the general consensus reading. Ouija, Origin of Evil swerves its franchise's planchette unexpectedly to yes, with a surprisingly scary and dramatically satisfying follow-up to its lackluster predecessor. Coming in at number 4, Friday the 13th Part 4, The Final Chapter. Friday the 13th The Final Chapter is a 1984 slasher film directed by Joseph Zito, and is the 4th installment in the Friday the 13th film series. For anyone who has been living under a rock their entire lives, Friday the 13th is a horror franchise that focuses on the fictional character Jason Voorhees, who drowned as a boy at Camp Crystal Lake due to the negligence of the camp staff. Decades later, the lake is rumored to be cursed, and is the setting for a series of mass murders. Now, some may not know this, but Friday the 13th The Final Chapter was originally intended to be the last movie in the series, hence the name of the movie, with Zito bringing his A game that really isn't found anywhere else in the series. Zito plays the film much more suspensefully, keeping Jason off screen for much of the film, as opposed to the hack and slash Jason vs teens like we saw in the first few movies. Now, the film itself picks up immediately after the events of part 3, with the story following a presumed dead Jason brought to the morgue, where he spontaneously revives and escapes, returning to Crystal Lake to continue his killing spree. Unlike the first few movies, the final chapter hits new levels with its characterization, acting, and gory effects, with Tom Savini, who worked on the first one, returning to do makeup because he wanted to help kill off Jason, whom he helped create. However, this film was of course not the end of the franchise, with the success of the movie prompting another sequel, Friday the 13th A New Beginning. Coming in at number 3, Wrong Turn 2 Dead End. Released in 2007, Wrong Turn 2 Dead End is a slasher film directed by Joe Lynch and is a sequel to the 2003 horror film Wrong Turn. Now, the original film centered on Chris and a group of 5 friends who are left stranded deep in the middle of the woods after their cars collide. As they venture deep into the woods, they face an uncertain and blood-curdling fate. Now, the original Wrong Turn is a guilty pleasure in every sense. We know the movie is mediocre at best, with some very questionable acting choices, but I personally can't help but love it. However, saying that all the sequel had to do was come ahead of its predecessor, and it did just that. Anyone and their dog could have made a better movie than the first Wrong Turn, but Joe Lynch came and hit it out of the park. The movie was received well by critics and viewers alike, with Stephen Barton of Dread Central giving the film 4 out of 5 stars, stating that the film is a hot ticket for some gore-soaked backwards mayhem that gets even better with repeated viewings and a lot of booze. And honestly, I couldn't put it better myself. The movie could have been an easy cash-in for any director, however, the movie ended up being one of the best horrors to come out of the genre that year. It is a great example of the backwoods cannibal horror niche that also works as a satire of the genre. If if you haven't watched the movie, I highly recommend. In at number 2, Hostel Part 2. Hostel Part 2 is a 2007 horror film written and directed by Eli Roth, and the sequel to Roth's 2005 movie Hostel. The original 2005 horror flick followed a mysterious organization that tortures and kills kidnapped tourists. The movie is one of my favorite torture porns, with it being thrilling and bloody from start to finish, with naive American tourists falling into the laps of an underground world of pain and torture, getting tied up in chairs and brutally attacked by men who pay to kill. We all remember that horrible part when the Achilles heel is cut and then it just, you know? It is horrible to watch, but a great time nonetheless, so when Hostel 2 came around, I had my doubts that it wouldn't live up to its predecessor, but thankfully it proved me wrong. Hostel Part 2 follows 3 American female art students in Rome who are directed to a Slovak village where they are kidnapped and taken to a facility in which rich clients pay to torture and kill people. Honestly, if you squirmed while watching the first Hostel, you will have a very difficult time trying to get through Hostel 2, with it pulling back the curtains on the underground world of sadism. More blood, more torture, more mutilation. The movie from start to finish is a gut punch, but that's what makes it so damn good. Saying that though, some countries weren't too thrilled about the movie, with it being restricted to adults in more countries. However, it has been cut in Germany, with some scenes being outright banned. A court in Munich actually ruled the release of the film in its cut or uncut form to be punishable by law, which is absolutely crazy. The film went on to garner a 44% on Rotten Tomatoes, which angers me, it's pretty low, with the general consensus reading, offering up more of the familiar sadism and gore. Hostel Part 2 will surely thrill fans, and that it does. And finally, coming in at number 1, we have Rec 2. Directed by Wilme Balagueró and Paco Plaza, Rec 2 is the Spanish found footage zombie horror film sequel to 2007's Rec, and the second installment of the Rec film series. Now, the original movie was released back in 2007 and centered on a news reporter and her cameraman covering a firefighter intervention at an apartment building in Barcelona. As the situation escalates after some of the building's occupants show animalistic and murderous behavior, the reporter and cameramen find themselves confined inside the perilous building. The movie is thrilling, claustrophobic, and spine-tingling, and bloody. You are confined inside of the apartment building with its occupants with no way to escape but to go up. And up isn't exactly the perfect escape once our protagonists make it into the penthouse, with the final few moments being absolutely haunting, lingering with many horror movie lovers for years. The film was hugely successful and is recognized as one of the early successes and one of the best films in the found footage genre. Thanks to its success, the Rec film series was spawned, resulting in Rec 2, Rec 3 Genesis, and Rec 4 Apocalypse. However, the film we're going to be talking about is Rec 2, the superior film out of the bunch, which is saying a lot. Now, Rec 2 takes place immediately after the events of the first movie, perfectly described by Polygon, I quote, "Rec is a roller coaster, Rec 2 is a drop tower." The movie continues on from the first movie's events, with the story going from bad to worse, with it moving up and up towards the penthouse. Now, although the sequel isn't as surprising as the first one, it does bite back with ferocious energy. It is honestly an intensive exercise watching this movie, with you feeling mentally and physically drained by the end of it. From start to finish, our characters are racing throughout the building trying to escape, but are met with just more hordes of zombies around every turn and up every staircase. Honestly, it's an intense thrill ride from start to finish. Well, there we have it. Do you guys agree with our list? With any horror movie sequels that we missed? Leave us your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below, and perhaps we can do a part 3. Before I go though, I just want to respond to a few comments from one of our last videos, top 5 scary horror movie reboots. Aiden High Valley said, "I guess I'm only immune to Lucy's powers. I still love this channel and like Keegan as much as I like her." Wow. I mean, fair enough. You can like me just as much as you like Keegan, but I felt quite attacked by that comment. No one's immune to my powers. Get out. Robert Headley said, "The Thing, arguably the greatest remake ever made." Couldn't agree more. Right on the money there. Damien Staplecamp said, "Lucy, your shirt matches my wrestling gear from the early 2000s. I had no idea you were a fan. I'm honored." I actually don't know what I was wearing in that video, but I actually don't own anything that resembles wrestling gear. Unless it was a workout shirt I was wearing, then maybe. I also hate wrestling, so I'm not a fan. Pat Phil said, "Oh no, having issues with words sounds like a Pontypool virus, considering this year a good 85% chance." Well, you should see me in this video. I'm always having issues with words, so maybe I do have the Pontypool virus. Jim Fleming said, "Written, hosted and edited by Lucy McPhee, a hat trick for a Sunday afternoon. Or do you prefer triple play? How about triple threat?" I'll take hat trick and triple threat. That's what I'm gonna say. FX Rodriguez said, "Preach Lucy, Argento is god-worthy." That he is. Everyone needs to watch his films, because honestly, he's so great and so underrated. Some people don't even know who he is. get out of here if you don't. And on that note, if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another scary vid. And until next time, see you later. Oh no, I hope my parents... Yeah, I hope my parents don't watch this video. I don't even know. I just forgot how to read for a sec. Coming in at number 5, Ouija board. Ouija. Although no one seems to be moving it in... what am I saying? Lackluster. To it. I just can't. Unexpectedly. I don't even know what I'm doing. You know when you just don't really know where you are? Like, I'm not drunk, but I feel it. Like, I keep forgetting what I'm even doing. I think that's a sign of something not right. Maybe I should go to a doctor. Or I just... Just give me a sec. Just don't know where I am, you know? Don't know what's wrong with me today. I'm in another world. I'm on another level. Oh, I need a haircut. Look at this mess. Oh, I left a second installment of the Rex series. Okay, up.